Grandma and the Great Depression and her homemade noodle soup. Grandma's stories, stories from my life. Grandma's porch. Sit down, relax, enjoy. Here on Grandma's porch. Grandma and the Great Depression. Hello, y'all. I'm Dianna Brianne. I don't give advice, suggestions, information, recommendations. I'm just here for entertainment purposes, that's all, okay? Well, as y'all know, I'm making a big pot of homemade noodle soup. So my kitchen is a mess, and I'm a mess right now. And you can see I've been rolling out dough, and it's a mess over there. And here is some of the noodles. And I'm going to kind of show you one of the noodles here. And they're big old pieces of noodles. Look at that. Look at that. Can you see that? They're like big old pieces of noodle. And got real good chicken in there. And, you know, I make noodles. And I have a little noodle machine. But I choose not to do that. I choose to make them the old-fashioned way like Grandma used to make. Now, my mama and Grandma used to make them straight. But they also made kind of patchwork noodles, and these are kind of called patchwork noodles, which means that they're kind of all different shapes and sizes. And I do that on purpose because it makes them taste more delicious. At least I think so. And I'm making my healthy soup, as I talked about in another video. And so my kitchen is a mess, and I'm a mess, and it's all okay. It's all good, okay? So the Great Depression. You know, Grandma lived through the Great Depression, and you know one of the things she said, people didn't see it coming, but she said, I saw it coming. I saw it coming, so I stocked up my food cellar. That's what Grandma did. She always stocked up her food cellar when she didn't know what else to do, and made homemade chicken noodle soup. She said she saw that storm coming. She said everybody was out there doing the flapper dance, and she said they were having a good time, and everything was going so good, and people were having fancy cars and all that. She said, I knew something was up. She said, I knew something was up. People were all having this great time. And she said people just didn't see it coming. She said they didn't see the Great Depression coming. But she said, I did, and I was all prepared for it in my little 3-room house. Not a 3-bedroom house, but a 3-room house, okay? Grandma had that little 3-room house. I've told you all those stories about Grandma and her house, and you have to just go back through, sift through all my videos and my Grandma stories, okay? So anyhow, she said the Great Depression was a really, really, really difficult time, and they ate a lot of homemade noodles, just like what I'm making right now, out of flour, salt, a little bit of salt, and flour and eggs. And she said if you don't have any eggs, you can make them out of flour and water and put them in hot boiling water. And of course I'm making homemade chicken noodle soup with homemade broth and everything. And I talked about that, like I said, how I make it in another video. And I do it according to Grandma's recipe because, well, that was a whole nother video. She believed it was very, very healthy soup. And she used to stand over her soup. And she said that, you know, what she told me, now, like I said, I don't give advice or suggestions. She just told me that it kept her healthy. And so when she was making her soup, and she always had a pot of soup on the back of the stove, especially if there was a time where people were getting sick for any reason. She always kept that soup on back of the stove, and she asked everybody that came in her house to eat a bowl of that soup. And it seemed like everybody stayed well that came to Grandma's house. Yep. So she lived through the Great Depression. She said it was a tough and very difficult time. And it actually lasted about 20 years, she said. People say it only lasted about 10. She said in her area, it lasted at least 20, if not longer. So sometimes it takes a while to recover from something like that. And there could be times ahead that it could even take longer to recover. So, you know, people are used to the good and plenty. Everything is so good. Everything is always going to be the same. And Grandma said, She said people were all dancing I guess it was called the flapper music. you know, and she said, I just knew. So that was Grandma and the Great Depression. Well, I better get back to my homemade noodles and finish making them and put more in my soup. And I hope y'all have a great day. May God bless you. And so from my house to yours, I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye. Grandma's porch, a place to relax.